the facts exactly where they should be. Spoke to a broker, said I can do 20 to 45% margins on a FedEx line haul run. Profit margin? Is that real? EBITDA or it doesn't matter. Okay, where? Send me email it to me or text it to me. Is 45% margin on your revenue as a profit margin possible in FedEx line haul? No, definitely not. And it doesn't need to be. Super attractive business, exactly what it is and what it's always been, but you always have a broker, a seller, consultants. People say things that aren't true. And why? Because they want your business and they want the business to look more attractive than it is, and it's never needed to be. When I got in, when I first was in your shoes, started looking around, and at the time the shtick was, for the couple of brokers that were out there, was you can own your own line haul business and you'll do 33%. And it was 33% so that they could say, look, buy this business and in 3 years you'll have it paid off, your principal will be done. Then after that, everything else is gravy. And that's what everybody's pushing, this 33%. Was it accurate? It could be. Now, it wasn't for a lot of the businesses that were being sold. But yes, you could earn 33% returns on your money in a year on your revenue, your regular profit margin at the time. Now, is it possible? Like today, your fuel ratio is going to be so high, it's just going to destroy that margin. But no, 45% isn't possible. And okay, let me look at this. So look at the revenue. In this one, look, what am I looking at? I'm looking at the revenue versus the cash flow. You're nowhere near. They're advertising under 20%. So you gotta scroll down in there. 20 to 45% of the revenue, depends on solo. No, it's not 45%, and I don't know if it's a sales tactic or gimmicky or what, but how are you accomplishing that? We went over the P&L, right? How are you accomplishing 45%? Your fuel ratio, what is it? Let's take 25%, not the 30%, what it is. You got 25% on your fuel ratio. Well, let's throw in your biggest expense, your payroll. Let's say you're legit, you're not paying cash under the table, you're paying payroll taxes, you're paying workers' comp, and you're taking it a state where it's less expensive. You're still looking at 35% right there. There's 60% right there that's already knocking you out of that potential 45% on your two biggest costs that everybody has to pay. Right there. What do you have? Do you know a Saudi prince giving you gas for free? Okay. Do you have some kind of deal cut with OPEC? Like, who are you? How are you achieving this? Are you paying your drivers less money than everybody else has to pay their drivers to run the exact same runs? How long are you going to keep those drivers? Okay, so say you're a husband and wife team, right? And you're running a team run and you're not including your payroll expenses for yourself. Okay, even with that, but in this scenario, how are you paying for your trucks? Okay, you're not leasing the trucks because that throws off the numbers. So you buy the trucks, so you go out and you buy a $200,000 truck with the best gas, best fuel economy, 200K Volvo, Peterbilt, whatever you want to call it, newest technology. Are you depreciating that over 5 years like everybody else has? How are you taking that expense? And if you're not, okay, we'll look at this as an EBITDA before we take out depreciation when we're looking at these margins. That's not what it says, but let's get creative here. You still have to pay maintenance. Brand new trucks still have maintenance issues you still have to account for, and that's only in year 1. What about year 2, 3, 4, and 5? Are the runs still expected to do that type of profit margin? It's not possible. And for anybody to insinuate that it is, the words that I want to say are just unkind, but it's not correct. It's misinformation. And no, you're not going to do that, and you don't need to. These businesses are so sexy. on their own. Work remote, minimal hours a week, growth, exponential growth, as we talked about where to get more runs from. You want to grow your business? Not hard to grow your business, guys, for a lot less expensive than what you're going to find on BizQuest. Once you're in, get your foot in the door. The margins, 25%. Is anybody here turning their nose up right now? Especially right now, but think of the past 5 years of your life. Hey, you want to invest in a business, 20%. I'm going to guarantee you 20% as long as you follow these rules. Some years, shit's going to happen, and oh man, couldn't hit that 20%, but other years, wow, great, it went over. Blend it out, it's 20%. Is anyone going to turn their nose up at that? No, of course not. It's still a phenomenal business for what it is. Push the benefits, the factual benefits of what it is, because you will have a borderline unlimited supply of investors that once they truly understand the honest and transparent benefits of owning a FedEx line haul run, it sells itself. I know I've sold scores of businesses, and I've never had an issue where someone's like, well, I really wanted to buy a FedEx line haul business, but I ended up going with somebody else because the numbers were better. People go through other stuff, but it's very particular reasons, and a lot of it's just because they couldn't come up with the cash. They were told they could do SBA financing, and we all know now, right? Not a thing. And so, great, get me on a rant at the end of the day, but no, 20% all day long, 45%, it's unnecessary to even hint at that. It just takes away from what we're trying to accomplish here, which is getting out accurate and honest information. For anybody, we put up an Instagram, right? You guys have Instagram? All it is just trying to explain what the facts are. Get the truth out there. I'm so tired, and it's probably laziness on my part. How many of you did we have our initial conversation and I had to spend how much time just trying to correct the inaccuracies of what your expectations were from this space? I could go on. I list them all the time, the ones that frustrate the hell out of me. But every now and then you get somebody, you get like a broker, you get a consultant, you get a salesperson that kind of pushes too far. No, guys, you don't want dedicated team runs. Drivers don't want to run dedicated team runs. They want unassigned runs. They are nomadic creatures. They're adventurers. They want to explore the 7 seas of the United States of America that is FedEx hubs, and they want to experience different things every week. And of course you want unassigned runs, and you should pay more for unassigned runs than you do for dedicated runs. People are saying that. Yes. That's the thing. And the misinformation in this space, it frustrates the hell out of me. And it's not like I'm some holier than thou, and it makes it harder for me. It's laziness. I would have to correct other people's mistakes, and I lose a potential great buyer because they were told things that weren't true, and then I'm saying something the opposite, and they're like, well, hell, where do I get correct information from? It's frustrating. It takes away from the whole space because we want good buyers with a significant amount of cash that can help push this space into more successful operations, so that FedEx, your local stations and your hubs don't have to broker out to JB Hunt and third-party companies and pay them exorbitant rates to run these runs. You want those runs, right? We don't want the station to ever have to turn to another company that's not a FedEx line haul contractor, and that's better for all of us. Like, we're all in this together. And this is just an example, and I've beat this into the ground, right? And this was a good one, a great question. End of the day, awesome. But I'm gonna let it go with that. So no, 45%, not a thing, and it doesn't need to be, because this business is super attractive for new investors, new operators coming to the space without it. Leave the facts exactly where they should be in terms of pure, blatant truth, and we'll all be much better off for it. All right, that's it. I'm bouncing. Y'all have a good weekend. can hear it, that's my dog telling me it's time to go. Bye, guys.